In this video, we're going to be looking at restrictions on a variable in the denominator. Both linear and quadratic will be in the numerator and the denominator. And remember that you can't have 0 in the denominator, right? You can't divide by 0. So what we're going to try to find is where the denominator is equal to 0, and then we can throw those out. Okay, so let's look at the first one. It says y plus 4 over y minus 2, and it says set the denominator equal to 0 and solve. So that's what we'll do. Y minus 2 equals 0. If we add 2 to both sides, that will give us y is equal to 2. Okay, so what that means is that y cannot be equal to 2, because if it is, then you'll be dividing by 0, because 2 minus 2 is 0. So our excluded value on this first one is 2. So y cannot be equal to 2. All right, let's look at the next one. Again, it says set the denominator equal to 0 and solve. So I can set this equal to 0. Let's subtract the 12 from both sides. Okay, and that will give me negative 3v equals negative 12. And then I can divide by the negative 3 on both sides. And that will give me v is equal to, let's see, a negative divided by a negative is a positive. 12 divided by 3 is 4. So that's the value that we're going to exclude. So we're going to say v cannot be equal to 4, because if it is, it makes the denominator equal to 0, which we do not want. Okay. This one looks like we can just subtract the 6 from both sides. And that will be w is equal to negative 6. So we'll say that's our excluded value. Okay. All right, let's look at these now. So we have some quadratics going on here. So we'll look at the bottom only. We'll set this equal to 0. And what we're going to have to do on this to solve this is factor it. Okay. So to factor this, you need two things that multiply to get 12, but add to get 8. That should be 6 and 2. 6 times 2 is 12. 6 plus 2 is 8. So this factors into x plus 2 and x plus 6 equals 0. And when you factor, you can use something called the zero product property to set each one of these equal to 0 and get a solution. So we'll set x plus 2 equals 0, and we'll set x plus 6 equals 0. Okay. So on this one, I will subtract 2 on both sides, and on this one, I'll subtract 6 on both sides. So that gives me x is equal to negative 2, and x is equal to negative 6. Those are my solutions. So that's what x cannot be, because if it is those two numbers, then the bottom will turn into a 0. Okay. Let's look at this. We have to factor again. So two numbers that multiply to get 36, but add to get 13. That should be 9 and 4. 9 times 4 is 36. 9 plus 4 is 13. So you will get v plus 9 times v plus 4 equals 0, which means you have v plus 9 equals 0 and v plus 4 equals 0. If we subtract the 9 here and the 4 here from both sides, this one will give us v is equal to negative 9, and this one will give us v is equal to negative 4. And those are the two numbers that we are going to throw out, because they will make the denominator equal to 0. Okay, let's take a look at this one. So factoring problem again, it looks like two numbers that multiply to get 49 but add to get negative 14. That should be negative 7 and negative 7. So you'll get w minus 7 equals 0. Now, since they're the same term, they're both going to give us the same answer. So we only need to set one of them equal to 0 and solve. And if we do that, we add this 7 to both sides. And that will give us w is equal to 7. So that's the value we're going to throw out. Okay, 3 more. We got y squared minus 16 equals 0. Notice we're missing that middle term, but this is going to be a difference of squares. Recall that your difference of squares formula looks like this. If you have a squared minus b squared, you can factor it into a plus b, a minus b. Okay, So this one can be written as this way, as a difference of squares. So it would be y squared minus 4 squared, okay, equals 0. And then we can use the difference of squares. This is the first term, so this is a, and this is b, and we just put them in here. So it'll be y plus 4 and y minus 4 equals 0. Okay, which means we can set each one of those equal to 0 separately. Y plus 4 equals 0, y minus 4 equals 0, and if we subtract 4 here and add 4 here, that will give us our solutions of y is equal to -4 and y is equal to +4, and we'll say those are the values we throw out because they will make the denominator turn into 0. Okay? All right, two more. Let's factor this one. So we need two numbers that multiply to get 35, but add to get 12. I think 7 and 5 are what we're looking for. 7 times 5 is 35, and if you add them, you get 12. So x plus 7 and x plus 5 equals 0. So x plus 7 equals 0, x plus 5 equals 0. If we go ahead and subtract the 7 and subtract the 5, then that will give us x is equal to -7 and x is equal to -5. So we'll throw those values out because they make the denominator turn into a 0. Okay, and then the last one, this one can be used can be done with a difference of squares formula. This one right here, we've got p is our first term, so that one's squared, minus what number squared gives us 64? 8. Okay, so this becomes p plus 8 and p minus 8 equals 0. So p plus 8 equals 0, p minus 8 equals 0. If we subtract the 8 here and add it here, then that will give us p is equal to -8 and p is equal to 8. We'll throw those values out because they will make the denominator turn into a 0. And that's it.